Nutnfancy coming at you with a fixed blade review. This time we're going to be talking about the outstanding Rat Cutlery RC-3 fixed blade knife. Yes, I know a lot of you have been waiting for this review, specifically this brand of the RC-3 versus the Ontario Rat version. I'll talk about that as the review progresses. I'm going to be time crunched. There's so much to cover. By the way, give a big thanks to Rat Cutlery, specifically Jeff Randall, because he is supporting the Nutnfancy project by getting me these blades. Yes, he sent me these blades for review, and without Jeff Randall, I would not be doing this review. So good job, Rat Cutlery, for getting our viewers the opportunity to see your blades up close and give you my takes for what they're worth. Probably not a lot. But that being said, I will maintain my integrity through this whole process. I won't kiss up and don't kiss up to anybody. I absolutely have to keep it real. I will level a few criticisms. Perhaps. We'll see if we go along. And I'm just going to keep it real. But first, I got to show you his website. It's an outstanding website. No, I'm not advertising for Rat, but there's some cool things there that are very germane to what I'm going to talk about. Let me stop the camera, move the tripod over there. I'll join the two clips together. Okay, the tripod is set up. We're looking at Rat Cutlery's website, and dudes, I have got to show you their model. She is like the hottest model of any knife or gun I think I've ever seen. Seriously, she is a total babe. Jeff, good job, bro. Good job. Keep her up on the website. We need to see more of her. I don't know where you got her, what you paid for the model posing, but well done. Total fox. Goodness sakes. Anyways, back to the topic at hand, and I'll let you go ahead and be distracted with that gorgeous woman right there as I talk. Jeff talks about, and the Rat Cutlery Company talks about their separation from Ontario on their website, and I'm not going to read it out loud. Basically, they decided to not renew their contract after 5 years with Ontario because a lot of their customers wanted upgrades to the knives. And let me see, click over here to the RC-3 real quick. Sorry, I know. We'll get back to her in a second. They wanted upgrades, and Rat says they could do it a lot easier with their own company than they could with Ontario. They also said they wanted I don't know about attempted, but wanted upgrades to the fit, finish, and detail of their knives that the corporate bureaucracy at Ontario prevented. And they wanted to respond quicker to upgrades and product improvement. So those are all valid reasons. And also they had maybe a certain measure of political correctness they had to deal with, and they wanted to kind of get away from that. He alludes to that on his webpage. You can look that up. I also say you're going to make more money when you cut out the middleman, truth be told. So Rat Cutlery stands to make more money when they sell the knives directly, in my opinion. And that's all it is. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm all for it. As long as you keep your blades reasonably priced for us users, I say rock on. And I will tell you, like I said just a second ago, this is an impressive website. It's well done. It's got great pictures. And this is some of the political correctness I think that Ontario would have prevented. Here we see a dude with, I'm not sure which version of RC that is, but he's gutting a gator. And there's a lot more graphic pictures on the ratcutlery.com website you can look up. I'm not going to show them, but dudes, they really show their knives in use. I think that's cool. I know. Let me zoom out and get her again. I know. There you have it. But that is cool. Showing that. I'm all for that, and I am not turned off at all by it. And that would have probably been pretty much impossible doing it with Ontario. Ontario probably would not dig that at all, being showing a graphic chop up of an animal on their website. But guess what? This is designed to be a survival blade, and that's very apropos for the subject at hand. I'm going to have to move the tripod over. Let's say goodbye to Miss Rat Cutlery there. And yeah, she's just gorgeous. I'm going to turn the camera off, join it in just a sec. Okay, here we are back at the table. I know what you guys are saying. Dude, we don't want to see your stupid talking points. We want to see the hot chick. Yeah, I don't blame you. But we got to get to business here, and let's get going. First off, philosophy of use. How do I envision the RC-3 being used? I think it's an excellent EDC fixed blade. It is small enough to be carried in that capacity. Also, it would be an excellent all-around tactical blade. No, it's not a super long blade, and therefore it doesn't have a super long reach for defensive purposes. but it's a strong blade, very stout, and all the things I said about the RC-3 apply. And actually the blade is about just over 3.5 inches long, so the RC-3 designation is a little bit of a throw-off. Let's get this other version out that Jeff sent me. But great tactical knife all the way around. It could be a great utility cutter as well, and that's the philosophy of use. Also a mini survival knife. Yes, I criticize, and quite validly I think, the use of very small blades in the wilderness. I think they're a lot less capable than their larger counterparts, and I will stick by that criticism just from my own experience. However, they are smaller, easier to carry, therefore I think the RC-3 could excel in that capacity. Enough for POU, you can figure it out on your own. How about the quality? And Randall talks about the quality differences between this and his previously contracted with Ontario RC-3. And here we see the two knives side by side. I've spent some time examining these knives side by side. This is mine, this is his. And I will tell you, there is some validity to the quality differences. The handle on the RC-3 is superior. It has better traction. The micarta is better formed and radiused. You can see that. This is a lot smoother on the RC-3. This is a lot more textured on the RC-3. It's a better handle all the way around. About the same width, but he did the great job, and this was one of my criticisms on the RC-3, of putting just a little bit of extra length on it. And I think that's ideal for the RC-3. That gives you more real estate, same word I always use, on the handle. So, but back to quality, I think the finish on the blade is different. It's that black, epoxy baked crinkle finish. But you know what? I didn't have a problem with the finish on the RC-3, truth be told, so I'm going to call that one a draw. Now, this is a D2 version of a RC-3. This is a 1095 blade of the RC-3. What are the differences in steels on the 1095 counterparts? Hard to say. It really is. I don't know. That would only be something that could be revealed through hard testing, but I have found and used my RC-3s from Ontario to be most excellent. I haven't really had a problem with them holding an edge, both the 1095 and the D2 variety. The sheaths, and I'm kind of jumping ahead, but the sheaths are better with RC-3s as well versus the RC-3s. But overall, not a huge leap in quality, but a definite and definable leap in quality. So I'm going to give advantage RC-3 over the RC-3 in quality. Weight, balance, and feel, how is that? Well, I didn't weigh it yet. Let's throw it on the scale. The RC-3 weighs 5.2 ounces. For a extremely strong fixed blade knife, guess what? That's reasonable. By the way, if my battery dies, I'm just going to join the clips. There might be a little blip in the video. I'm not going to restart the whole thing. Sorry about that. So, 5.2 ounces is a reasonable weight for a knife of this strength. That lends to a very nice balance and an excellent feel, especially with that lengthened handle over the RC-3. I really like it. How's the reverse grip? Excellent. Just outstanding. It just feels good in hand. It's comfortable. It's not too thick. Just a fast blade. And that would be an advantage in a tactical scenario. Yeah, I only got 3.5 inches of use or reach in the blade. However, it's a fast blade. And I certainly would not want to go up against it. Very concealable too. So weight, balance, and feel. How does it par against the RC-3? Well, the RC-3 I think comes out, and let me just say this, the RC-3 still was a Randall design knife. It was also produced under the direction and control of Randall, albeit under contract with Ontario. It is still an outstanding knife. So I don't want you to come away from this, and I don't think it's fair to say, oh, the RC-3 blows away the RC-3. They're very similar. Very similar. The differences are slight. I do think the RC-3 has advantages, as noted, and as I will note, over the RC-3, but they're not by a huge margin. Let's be realistic, okay? And let's not be brand myopic. I still think it's a great knife, both of them. But I think back to the weight, balance, and feel talking point, the handle, the shortness of the handle, and the slickness of the micarta on the RC-3 make it less confidence inspiring than, in my opinion, than the RC-3. Enough said about that. Blade design and steel. The blade design is just like the RC-3. It's that wonderful drop point blade, which I absolutely dig. I think it's awesome. Sorry for the interruption. Battery died, like I told you. Anyways, talking about the blade shape on the RC-3 and the RC-3 for that matter, they're the same blade shape. I think, like I've said before in other videos, very effective. I like the drop point. Dig it. Love the belly here. It's effective for both utility and defensive tasks. It's got a sharp point on it, adequately reinforced by the thickness of the blade. Speaking of the thickness of the blade, the RC-3 is actually just a few thousandths of an inch thinner than the RC-3. And I like that. For a utility, compact, tactical, fixed blade knife, I don't need a thick blade. Really, I don't. And yeah, I did measure them with a caliper. And it was just a couple thousandths difference. But you might be able to detect that when I hold them side by side. On the left, just a little bit thinner than on the right. Ontario, Cutlery. Back to the blade shape, though. It's just excellent. By the way, look at those serrations on the Cutlery. These are very different than the Ontario serrations that they have, and I really like them. I haven't used them. These are tabletop review only knives. I'm not going to take these out and thrash on them. I don't own them. But I love the serrations on there. See how they're flattened as opposed to being like totally scalloped? A little bit different than the other one, the rat version. So decent. I think they'd be helpful. Now I have said in past reviews, and I'm going to stick by this, I prefer a full plain edge knife. I generally don't like a combo edge, especially on such a short blade as this. I think if you keep your knife razor sharp, it'll do everything you want it to do with whatever kind of cutting task you got going on. If you do have to go with a serrated model, go full serration. That way they'll cut like a chainsaw because they have a lot of length. That's just me. Your mileage may vary. Some of you guys may just totally dig it. I'll tell you this too though. If you look at serrated or combo models versus plain edge models at all your knife outlet stores, you can look at the annotation for my current favorite knife store right now. But if you look at that, their inventory, the plain edges are almost always selling a lot better than the serrated models. At least in my experience. And the models that I'm interested in. Again, your mileage may vary. So back to the blade design and steel, outstanding. Now they make their knives of 1095 steel. And as I've said in many other videos and shown you in the woods, I like 1095. I think it's an excellent all-around steel that's very effective. I have no issues with it. Easy to sharpen, maintains a good edge, it's tough, doesn't chip when it hits the dirt. However, like Randall says on his website, and like I've told you in my videos many times, it requires maintenance. You need to keep it oiled up, preferably with rim oil. Heck, your choice of lubricant or protectant may differ than mine. When I'm out in the woods, heck, whatever I have works. Like WD-40, since I'm using that as a wood lubricant, that'll work. When I put them away, I'll wipe them down with rim oil. If you're in a very moist or high humidity environment, I recommend break-free CLP because that's more viscous and it will stick to your blade better. Anyways, that's the only downside I can see to 1095. Now, since it is 1095 steel, it's not a wonder steel. This is a very common tool steel. And since it's common, it shouldn't be priced like it's more special than it is. And I have issues with manufacturers that act like their 1095 blades are all that. As I've shown you in the out of doors, there's some very high value, very capable 1095 blades out there. K-Bar Heavy Bowie, Ontario SP5, Ontario SP10, on and on, that are very affordable. So 1095 shouldn't be priced excessively. I'm going to jump ahead right now and talk about the price of this knife. It is reasonable. It's around 80 bucks at the store I told you about. And that's decent. That's in line, more or less, maybe a little bit higher than the RC-3, the previous Ontario version. So, not bad. Actually, I got this one around for $68, so a little bit more expensive. But not outlandish, and there have been some measurable improvements in quality, like I said. So that's decent. But I have to be fair, if this knife goes up in price over the years, then I'm not too hip about it. Otherwise, I'd be a hypocrite because I criticize Tops knives for doing that. A lot of their 1095 blades are priced exorbitantly. Ridiculous prices. $160 for a 1095 blade? Forget about it. I'm not hip on that. So, bottom line on the price, and yes, I've jumped ahead in the talking points, is it's reasonable, and I hope it stays that way. I think $80 for this knife is in the ballpark. I would like to see it less. I would like it to see for $60. Don't know if Rat can do that. I don't know what their overhead and the things they got going with their steels and stuff, but it's a lot of knife for the money, so keep it up. So, talked about the steel, $10.95. I've got no issues with it. I love it. It's fine. I would like to see it, however, produce an S30V. How you doing, Rat? Please do that. Try to keep the price low, too. I know that's asking too much. If you go to S30V, it's going to increase the price like a lot. I know that. But I would really love to see an S30V, and you'll see that it will sell very well. By the way, go plain edge on that, Jeff. I wouldn't go combo edge. Just plain edge S30V. It'll sell like crazy. Go desert tan, plain edge, OD handle. Rock on. Sheath. Let's keep going. The sheath on it is really good. It's a MOLLE compatible sheath, has a MOLLE back to it. If you do order the MOLLE version, it's going to add some cost to your knife. As you note, this is the same sheath. The plastic portion is the same that the Ontarion model had. Exactly the same, although they do have their Rat logo in the sheath now. Here's the Ontarion version, had the little belt clip on it. I like the Ontarion version sheath. It was fine. It retains the blade well, doesn't absorb water, and all those features transfer over to the Rat RC-3 sheath. Excellent. And I'm going to go ahead and use the orange blade. By the way, that's that day glow handle they have. Interesting, huh? Fits in there nice, snaps in just like so. And they have a retention strap. Little criticism on the retention strap. I would not use Velcro here. Velcro wears out over time. I've proven it on many of the things that I have, and it just pretty much sucks. Now, I shouldn't say that's a little harsh. It doesn't suck. It's lightweight and it is effective, but if it gets full of snow or burrs, it's not effective, and as it wears out, it becomes ineffective. Put a snap here. That would be what I'd prefer, but, I mean, it's still doable. Also, for upside down MOLLE carry, and they show some great pictures of this on their instruction sheet that comes with a knife. They got a great full color picture of this on the website, so when you're done checking out that hot babe, go over there and look at their different MOLLE carry options. They show you exactly how you can carry it. Great job on that, guys. And that's, again, why I said their website rocks. They've got some very clear, delineated pictures on there. I love that. Now, back to the MOLLE carry. If you go upside down, they include an elastic pouch for it, kind of like so. I think that would really slow down the access to your knife, truth be told. If you need your knife quick, you got this, then you've got to unbury it. Now it comes out. Now, that might be overcome with some training. I don't know. I'd have to practice with it to let you know. But at least you have it, and you don't have to use it, nor do you have to go upside down. There's a lot of versatility in this MOLLE-backed sheath that Rat Cutlery provides. Again, go to your instruction sheet. It'll explain it all. I really like the 550 cord attachment option. I've spoken to that before in some of my previous vids. Real lightweight and effective way to attach it to LBE gear. So, pressing on. Great sheath. I love the options. Competitive options. Well, I've been talking about this all along, and that is the Rat 3. However, the Rat 3 is pretty much not available anymore. It's been superseded. All of Ontarion's offerings have pretty much sold out, and that's not really bad news because now you have an actually better knife to choose from, the RC-3. Now, there's a lot of other fixed blade options you could choose that will be around this weight and this price range. I really don't have time to cover them, but look to some of my other videos over time. I got to press on to finish this. Two kinds of cool. What does Nutnfancy mean by that? Well, the first kind of cool is practicality. How does a knife, and I'm holding up the wrong knife, how does a knife function in its intended role? And I will say that the RC-3 will function quite well. I think it will function better if you back that relief edge up and really put a razor sharp edge on it. Then you're talking. Now we got a slicer. As it comes out of the box, I would like it to have a better edge. But practically speaking, Very cool, very capable. The other kind of cool is intrinsic enjoyment. How much enjoyment will the knife give you? And again, I will say it will give you lots of collectability enjoyment. It's a fun knife to hold, to fondle, and just to look at. It's good looking with that olive drab handle. You might even like that orange handle version, which would be good in the bush if you dropped it. You wouldn't lose it. By the way, I'm not really sure why that bright green line is on the micarta. I'd prefer not to have that. But decent. So it is two kinds of cool, seriously. In both ways, it'll excel. By the way, look at that extended pommel that's pointed versus the rat version. I really like the RC-3s on the left. That's a lot more deadly, a lot more hurtful if we get in a combat situation with our knife. Heaven forbid. And finally, we've talked about price already with the RC-3. Right now, as of 2008, the end part of 2008, it is reasonable. I always want my knives to be super affordable, and I always want to get a lot of knife for my money. And I think you do with the RC-3. That's Nutnfancy's review. I am out of time yet again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the good reviews. Oh, man, what a cool knife this is. Thank you, Mr. Randall, for sending it so we could take a good look at it. Nutnfancy. I'll be reviewing the RC-4 shortly. Bye-bye.